Back here to ABA with Dr. D. This is your host, Dr. D. Today we'll be talking about one of the trial-based methods for preference assessments that we utilize in the field. This particular one is called single stimulus. Okay, and I'm going to talk a little bit about what the particular procedure is and how we're able to implement it. Before I start talking about this, I want to actually show a really quick, a bit of information here. That can provide a bit more, decision-making process so that you can be able to define or figure out whether this is the right procedure for you. So, a while back, I did a video on this particular topic, which is picking the right preference assessment. It's actually out of the Vanderbilt University, diagram that they, implemented here. So it's a really cool, map here that allows you to, or diagram that allows you to make decisions about what type of procedure you should implement. At the top, basically it says, do you have an understanding of the types of items a child likes and dislikes? If the answer is no, then use the free operant observation. If the answer is yes, we move on to the next question, which is the child able to consistently select between two items without choosing the same side? If the answer is no, that's when we're going to use a single stimulus or free operant observation. And if the answer once again is yes, we move on to the next question, which is the child able to select between three or more items without choosing the same side? Now I'm going to stop it there because obviously the focus of today's overall lecture or discussion will be single stimulus. Okay, so we will be focusing on single stimulus. Once again, the answer to selecting this particular type of method is the child able to consistently select between two items without choosing the same side? And the answer is no. Once again, I'm sorry to sound repetitive, but that's what we will pick, single stimulus. Okay, so I just want to share that with you. I'm gonna go back to the slide really quickly here. So let me remove this. So basically, yes, this is some quick bullet points about what this particular single stimulus is. It says present stimuli one at a time in random order and record target person's reaction to it. It is well suited for individuals who have difficulty selecting among two or more stimuli, which once again corresponds to the information we just saw earlier in the other stuff that I just shared with you. Okay, so here's basically a bit more information about how you would conduct, this particular procedure. It says here, that you will, before beginning, you should collect the following items. So you need your data collection sheet. You need 3 to 10 bite-sized edible items or 3 to 10 toys, a stopwatch or clock. Okay. Now you and your child are ready to begin. Okay, so here's the step one. So you're gonna sit across from the child at a table or on the floor. Step two, you're gonna place a single item from your array within reach of the child and give the task direction. Do you want it? Okay, you manipulate the toy as intended to show how it works. So you're gonna kind of play with that a little bit, see if that interests the child. Step three, if the child approaches the item, for instance, reaches out or takes it from you, and begins playing with it, allow the child to continue engaging with the item until they reject it. Until, for instance, they put it back the table, turn away from the item. Step number 4. If the child engages in problem behavior, has avoidant response, or does not approach the item within 10 seconds, you remove the item. Step 5. Record the following on your data sheet during each trial. So what you're going to record is basically whether the child approaches the item. So for instance, reaches out and takes it. If the child has limited motor abilities, approaching the item may mean that you place the item in front of the child in his hands or in his lap, and the child does not resist or reject the item. If the toy is novel, you might consider pushing buttons on the toy to show how it works. If the child does not approach the item within 10 seconds, remove it. The other thing you could record is whether the child engages with the item. So for engaging with toys, this might include pushing buttons on the toy, swinging the toy around, or otherwise manipulating the toy. Engagement does not necessarily have to be manipulating the toy as it was intended, but should not include problem behavior. For example, throwing the toy, breaking the toy. So for engaging with edible items, the child engages with the item if he consumes it. Okay. Really very clear description. Step 8, whether the child has an avoidant response to the item or engages in problem behavior. So this might include turning his head away from the toy, whining, screaming, aggression, breaking the item into pieces, or throwing the item. So unless throwing it is an appropriate play action, so with the ball, for example. Avoidant responses to problem behavior should be recorded during the initial presentation of items and not after the child has engaged with the item. And also what you're going to record is the duration for which the child plays with the toy. So the amount of time between the child's approach and rejection of the toy. It is not necessary to record duration for consuming edible items. Okay. And then last but not least, we'll repeat the steps 1 through 5 until you have completed your predetermined number of trials, or until the child consistently rejects or does not approach any of it. Okay, or any of it. Okay, so that right there's a pretty clear breakdown once again of what single stimulus is. You know, once again, if your child has a tendency to respond to only one side when you're presenting these particular items, if your child or client has a difficult time selecting between two items, then that's once again where you would more than likely need to utilize a single stimulus or the other option which they gave you, which is the free operant. Now what we're going to do right now is watch a video together. We do have plenty of video models here in ABA with Dr. D. We're going to watch the actual video where we see the implementation of a single stimulus. I'm going to give some commentary as we watch this video. Okay, so here we go. All right, so we're going to start watching the video now. This one once again is called Single Stimulus Preference Assessment. Put a bit more volume here so you guys can hear it out. So here we go.
Do you want to play with this?
Okay, so from the get-go, teacher or behavior technician presents the item, okay, the single item there in front of the child. Once again, we want to see is the reaction of the child. Okay, so we're here interested to record whether the child approaches the item, whether they're even interested in the item. Okay, so child grabs the item. You know, obviously there's interest there. The child starts interacting with the item. And you notice that the behavior technician immediately presses the timer to start recording the time of how long the child's actually engaged with this particular item. And as you can see, the behavior technician is actively observing, taking notes, documenting the behavior of the child with this particular item here. Okay, so, and we can leave the item for as long as they want it there. Okay. Okay. Well, actually,
can I have Woody again?
Okay, so actually there's a limited time. Sorry about that. There's actually a limited time in which they can be able to interact with the item there. So, okay, behavior technician. Okay, so behavior technician obviously provides a certain amount of time to interact with each item. And once again, as provided in other instructions, you could give it 30 seconds, a minute, however long you want. It seems like here was like around a minute or so that the behavior technician allowed for the child to interact with the item, and then they're going to switch another item into you know, right here in front of the table in front of the child, so that the child can interact with this item. So we'll see how the child interacts with this. I already see that the child's obviously going for it, so it seems like there's interest in this cool telephone car. Okay, same thing. Once again, you know, the behavior technician is recording data, observing the child playing with the item there. Obviously looks like the child is very interested in this particular item. Okay. So it seems the child is going to continue playing on and on. So there will be a time limit in regards to how long the child can interact. Okay. Perfect.
Thank you, Edward.
Perfect. So items returned, no problem.
Do you want to play with this?
All right, so child's given a new item. Behavior technician presses the timer there to start recording. You know, that time limit that the child has to play with the item. We'll see how much of that time the child actually plays with the item. Okay.
Okay, my turn. Thank you.
All right. So moving on to the next item.
Do you want to play with this?
Okay. So the most important thing to look for here is, once again, behavior technician, you do need to be very actively recording data. You're there recording the type of interactions the child has with the item. So here you see that there's very appropriate, you know, playing going on with this particular truck here. Okay. Okay, very good.
Awesome. Okay, my turn.
Excellent.
Do you want to play with this?
This will be the last item that's going to be presented. Okay. All right. So once again, this right here is a very good video. It provides an overall, you know, model of how you would implement a single stimulus. Now, things to consider here is, for sure, the child definitely has a skill. I think for sure has a skill to be able to probably do more than the single stimulus. That's why you're seeing that the child's very much interacting with each item without a problem. You know, once again, as a clinician, you need to make that selection utilizing the questions that I posed in the other video and earlier in the video. Also, there's another video, once again, if you want to watch that one, which is picking preference assessment, what that selection process is. I think it's, once again, very important for a clinician to identify what is the best option, right? Because, you know, it really depends on the child's skill, the compliance level, you know, what type of behaviors or problem behaviors we're dealing with this particular, you know, client. So it's one of those things, once again, that's very, very individualized. But I hope that this video was helpful for you. We're able to get some very general information about, you know, single stimulus, instructions of it, what would be the selection process for it. We watched the video together now. And that is a model, once again, that we want to continue here in ABA with Dr. D, providing more of these videos that we can kind of like slowly break down together. And if you have more suggestions, go ahead and leave a comment there. I want to make sure that, you know, we're able to hear you guys out. I do see a lot more comments, so I really appreciate that. Also, those people that are subscribing, much love to you guys. You know, that is reinforcement for us. That is right there, you know, the type of praise that allows us to continue finding that motivation to continue creating this content for you. Free content, free of access. There's no contingency other than you just watching the video there for you to basically be able to get it for your knowledge or for training purposes or whatever, you know, specific reasons to allow you, you know, once again, to help your clients out. Okay, so thank you so much for watching this video. You all take care.